Hey y'all, ZOL here, and this will be the first of many painting videos that are to come in the very near future. This small piece is called Purgatory, and it was made using acrylic on canvas, and I just thank you for joining me today as I paint this tiny little thing. Now, the inspiration for this painting came not from a sincere concept or anything, but mainly just from a feeling. I wanted to paint something representing release or envelopment or just all of the above, or even corruption. I don't know, I like corruption. It's a fascinating subject. I can't speak sometimes. But yeah, so I made this quick sketch. I only used one reference photo, and that was really just for me to get the profile of the woman right. But otherwise, I just took everything else into my own hands. It's not completely copying any photos, and I don't like to do that. Whenever I paint something, I do my best to avoid reference photos at all costs, just because it's more of a challenge and it helps me kind of grow. But if I must, and if I'm trying my best to be really hyper-realistic, then I'll throw in a reference photo or two, just so I can make sure I get my proportions right. But otherwise, I like to study things and people, but not in a scary kind of creepier way, if you catch my drift. Anyway, I just like to memorize the different proportions I see in real life. I use it as a still life to kind of reference my actual paintings. And as far as the actual painting process goes, I'm working in acrylic here just because it's easier to use. It gets across the feel that I want very quickly and efficiently, and honestly that's just what I felt like using at the time. And also because I just got these adorable tiny little new canvases that are literally just like 6x6, and I wanted to do something fun with it. Now, acrylic is one of my more favorite mediums. Acrylic and watercolor, those are my favorite mediums to work with, just because they can evoke emotion so easily, just because of the way the colors either blend together or the way I can use them to achieve whatever effect I want. Now, I use whatever I use depending on how I'm feeling. With this, I wasn't feeling very patient, so I just wanted something that was fast, and like I mentioned, acrylic does the job. I work in everything though, really. I've worked in oils, pastels, graphite, charcoal, gouache, anything, you name it, I've probably worked with it before. I can and will work with anything, however, oil paints are the one thing I will avoid at all costs. I can't speak. Mainly because they're so finicky. They take weeks to days to dry, and then I had to work in layers, and then the blending will become muddy if I don't do it right, and it's too much. I've learned to use acrylic in such a way that I can blend it like oils, or I can just layer it so that it gives me a very painterly effect, and I dig that. I don't see the reason to use oils, so I will not. Unless, of course, I want to challenge myself, or if there's a specific project that I'm trying to grow into, then I'll use it. But besides that, I avoid it. I completely avoid it. But here you see me painting a very whimsical portrait of a woman. And normally, my style revolves around abstract realism. I'm not even sure if that's an actual term, but it's what I go with. Most of the time you'll see a plethora of just random things and elements in my paintings, and that's really just the feelings that I'm feeling. I've often been asked before though if I use drugs while I'm painting, and the answer is no, I do not. My mind just works the way it does. I see color, I feel emotion, and I evoke it upon canvas, and that's just how I am. And it just happens to be sporadic, kind of like my mind, so well, there's that. The feeling that I want people to feel is, I want people to feel feeling from my paintings. I don't want to make them feel a certain way. So if you see this painting and you see a sense of relief, or you feel a sense of wonder, or you feel a sense of loss, that is the beauty of it. I make my paintings free to interpretation, and it's just so fascinating to see what other people feel, or what emotions they get, what thoughts they get from each painting. It's just so, it's really cool. That's why I like making art. I've actually been painting since I was, a freshman in high school. That was when I first got my first canvas, but I was an artist since like the age of 2. Like I literally started by drawing circles and lines because my mom taught me to draw circles and lines, and I kind of grew from there. I'm like, huh, what happens if I connect this circle to that line? What happens if I do this? And I just kept exploring, and now here I am. I will be posting a few links to my website in the description as far as my future works, anything else. And that is all. I will be posting more updates as to what will come up in the future, and I just thank you for watching with me. I hope you enjoy, and until next time.